Alright, well, welcome back. I'm back out here again. I really need to get these, everything in there works with each other. So I really need to get these door panels on. Because I'm not sure if I'm going to wrap that dash, like exaggerate the way the Chevy was. Pull that all the way down the door. But I need the door panel on there if I'm going to do that, like, you know, just pull that all the way around, like all the way back in the cab. I'm not sure, I might just buckle it in, but I need to get those door panels on, which means I need to get the window regulators done. I need to get the door handles changed out. So that's what the project is today. So I've taken the factory door handles off, and if you see, they have a spring to return it. So I got lucky. Up inside the door here there's already a hole, but if I have to, I can weld a washer. So I got a spring. I don't know if you can see it, but that spring will come down. What I'm going to do is, where this bend is in the bar, I'm going to weld a washer there and connect that spring. So I'll have the return up on the spring, and then I just brought the bar over to the center part of the door, and I've marked it. So I gotta make a new bend to go on there. So I got these 32 Ford style. The lock is in there now, so I no longer need the factory lock. Now this truck came with power door locks, so I can set up a Bulldog system that I can power lock and also have these locks in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld that up and put that in there, and then make a little short bar that comes over. So I need to take this bar out, weld that. I need to make this plate and then bolt that on. I got a little bit thicker material that I'm going to use for that, and then I'm just going to weld the nuts on the back side, and I'll go in there right about there, rotate down, pop the door open. Now I have a choice of either having them forward or back, but I like this look better, I think. Plus it's going to work, because if I take the other way, the window frame is in my way. It makes it harder to, because that bar has to be pushed down. So if the lever was this way, everything would have to be on there instead of here. So everything's working out better this way. So I'm going to modify that bar now. I'm going to make this plate, drill a hole, weld the nuts. We're going to change it out to an old door handle style. Now these, the Chinese sell them cheap. They're like 20 bucks for a set, and you know, they come with a lock. You can buy them without the lock, but you know, in the 30s and 40s, all the manufacturers basically had this type of style. 20s, 30s, you know, the 40s they kind of changed, but in the 30s, almost everybody had this kind of style. A lot of them get moved to the front door and suicided. We're gonna put this in. 3/8 wrench fits on here, and I could drill and tap the end and put that 3/8 wrench on. I gotta find a way to capture it still, so I might drill and tap that, or I may just make a collar that comes on here. I'm not 100% sure on that yet, and it's pretty simple once I get it in there. Yeah, and so if I drill and tap that, I can have this remove and have a spacer that hold this all together in the inside, and you know, put a lock washer on it. Anyway, that's the plan. It may get redone 3 or 4 times before it actually works right, but it should be pretty simple. Alright, so I got a cardboard template made out to weld in there. I'll move this over some steel and cut it out. I'm going to cut a couple of them, and I'll put the holes in it. Alright, so I got some, I've transferred it over with cardboard template. This is some thicker sheet metal. It's not 1/8 inch, or it's probably 16 gauge or 10 gauge. I don't whatever. But anyway, it's thicker, so it should be able to withstand that torquing value, and the pulling or whatever. It should not warp as easy. So we're going to cut these out and get them ready to put the holes in for the handles. Alright, so I got both the delete plates put in. Now I'm going to use this to put it up there and transfer the holes and get both of them drilled. And yeah, I got them fitted for both sides. And we'll weld that plate in and then put the new handle in that place. Alright. Alright, so I got them drilled and mounted. So they're at least mounted to the plate. So now I'm gonna go to Menards, and 12.38 socket fits on there pretty good. So I got a plan on how to do the interior bar and the spring and actually make it function. So it's like $5 a socket. I'm gonna have to put it on a lathe and do a little bit of work to it, and then I'm gonna have to cut the bar and drill and tap it. But I'll be able to capture it from the backside and then weld a bar out to make that actually push the lever up and down. So anyway, we're moving along here, and I'll have to go tomorrow at lunchtime and get the sockets that I need. Alright. Alright, we're over here at this little mini shop lathe that I got. This thing's from like the 30s or something. It's an old Craftsman Atlas lathe. I'm gonna drop something. But so here's our door handle, and what I actually dropped is the socket. Anyway, a 12.38 inch socket slides right on that key and keys real well. So we're gonna put it in this lathe and chuck it up in here, and then first through drill it so that we can go all the way through with that drive shaft and the socket, and then we'll make some bushings for it. Alright, that was step one. I drilled all the way out to where the socket drops on. You can see how tight, how little play it has. Making that 1/4 inch really hard to do without the broach, and even with the broach, you're pushing through the. So to find a tool I can buy cheap to make this lever is pretty amazing, So that's going to be the trick to making this door handle. I was making this. So now I got to go through. I'm going to make this big enough for it to slip all the way over, and big enough to put a bronze bushing, brass bushing. It's actually bronze. It really didn't matter. It could be aluminum, anything that would just kind of, wear and cause low friction. But I got some bronze here that we're gonna drill this open and make a bushing for that. Alright, so that's been drilled. The 1/4 inch been drilled drilled out to have a tolerance fit, interference fit actually. So we're gonna fit it to where we have to beat that piece of brass inside there. Then we'll drill it for it to go through and act like a bushing. Part it off. Alright, I beat it in, parting it off on the socket there. It's pressed. Alright, I got the through drill hole. So the bushing's done on this side of the socket. So you can see the bushing. And it's keyed on this end because of the socket 12 point. So we get a bushing here on this plate. And now we're going to replace the stock one that came in here. There's a piece of chrome steel. We're going to make that brass steel. Alright, I got it drilled and then turned down. We're gonna part it off now. So that's what we ended up with, is that little bushing. It's no longer chrome, it's gonna be brass. Should not rust and last for almost forever. Alright, I got this thing set up in the Bridgeport, and I checked it with the I put a set screw in there. It's going to go on the flat. So we're going to put a drill and tap it for a 1/4 20 to grab that. Alright, so I made this plate up and welded it to the socket. The socket ended up having to be modified to be shorter to clear the window, and a new bearing had to be made because I turned it in this way, and I also turned down that side. And I cut the square off for the rod because I don't need it that long. Window's got to pass through here, and that's the stock rod catch thing, I guess you call it, whatever. So but I got some spares coming to those because, you know, they're 20 some years old. And then there's a hole drilled in the rod for the return spring, so it'll pull it up and keep the latch from doing all the work. This spring will return the bar. Now I got to modify the bars. Here's that. This one's the reason. If I would have had two good ones, like this one was okay, but this one's all busted up. So I got to go in there, but I got new ones coming. eBay supplied them. So anyway, we got this. I welded the nuts for the stainless bolts I bought to hold the front, and the bolts are long enough that I could put lock nuts on them if I want. I don't know if I'm going to or not. This bolt holds. So basically, when I go to paint this, you know, there may be a filler or whatever to put in here, like a fiberglass and then a Bondo. So I need this to be able to be adjustable. So that's what this does. You loosen this up, and whatever filler's in there, I'm going to have, you know, 1/16 inch of adjustment. If that takes that much filler to fill this whole, you know, piece that I welded so you can't see it. So that bolt allows this to come in and out, and this is where the splines are on that 12-point socket. So yeah. Anyway, I got a design that I think it'll work. I just now need to go inside the truck there and modify the rods to go to these new locations, so they'll be cut and bent to be slid in here and then caught, and then this spring will hold everything up, and we'll have 30 style door handles on the truck then. All right, wish me luck. I'll bend the rods. I mean, it's just 1/8 inch rods, so if I screw it up, I can always buy 1/8 inch rod. You know, I could buy that at Tractor Supply. It cost me $10, so hopefully I don't have to buy any rod to redo it. Hopefully I can just make the factory rods the first time to where I like them. And yep, so we're gonna modify the rods, tack these in place, and then take it all apart and weld them. So I remade, you know, the factory came with this chrome steel bushing. Well, after a little bit of time, that chrome will come off and it'll actually not make it function correctly, and then it'll start rusting. So that bushing was replaced with a bronze bushing, and then inside there's a bronze bushing. Right there in the socket, there's a bronze bushing right there. So it acts as a thrust and a rotational bushing. And then out here on the outside, that's where that 12 point's actually doing the work. This is doing some work. I mean, it's caught on the flat, so the bolt comes in and hits that flat. But really, this bolt is only designed for be able to do my adjustment. All right, No wear is going to happen on the outside. The way this is designed, the wear will be there, so I don't have to worry about it cutting paint or anything. And if I decide to put a rubber grommet in here, I do have, you know, that much. There's almost an 1/8 inch of play. Pull this out for rubber adjustment, all that stuff. So, yep, I'm gonna go put these plates in now. So they're gonna go in here and get tacked. I gotta do a little grinding. So they'll get tacked in right there. And then I gotta take the bar out, bend the bar, and then take this all apart and weld, take this off and weld that plate in there solid and grind it. And then hope to God the doors work. I mean, the stock factory doors locks work perfect, right? But they're made out of plastic, and you know, every Dakota's got them. So I'm gonna do this now. All right, I got it all tacked in here, and I've already made the bar in the inside. I shortened it. I'll show you how the mechanism works. I got to repeat it over there on that other door, but I'm gonna do this. We'll poke inside there and look at how everything works. And so you see the bottom mechanism there. See the rod goes down. And it goes up there to the top. Move my light. Hopefully we can find a good spot. So you see the spring and the rod comes over. That factory rod's been modified. And then the spring returns everything. That rod length matters a lot to how the outside door handle is going to look. So, but it pulls it back. That rod length actually sets where that door handle is going to be. And anyway, that's my new door handles. I just got to finish weld this one. I got to cut the bar for the other side. It's tacked on. But it looks like it's working out pretty well. So, oh yeah, that's butter. You know, if you can do it with one finger. It is actually latched, so. Well, I only got to go do the bar on the other side, and then tear everything apart, and weld and grind these. I'll show you. And then once that's all welded and smoothed out, then door handles will be done. All right, let me go do the others, and then we'll get to welding these on. All right, so I got this one done, and the rod. So you know when the rod length's right, when you can lock and unlock without having to fiddle with that internal. There's like a little brass dowel it pushes out. So if you cannot just lock this with the key, that rod needs adjusted. So I got both of the rods set up. Now I'm finally ready to weld this and then tear it apart and grind it. And we got some 32 door locks, so they're gonna work. And we'll get rid of the plastic things that Dodge had on there. So anyway, I'm gonna tear it all apart and weld and grind the plate and then put it back together. Alright, so I got them all welded and they seem to be working. So we got ourselves some 32 Ford door handles on there. Got the other side done too. I'll walk over there and show it to you. Yeah, I got 3 days in this, but I think it's gonna be pretty cool. They sure work good. So, yep. I can grab a light and show you. You can see the mechanism. I don't know if I can catch on the camera or not, but I'll show you how it looks like in the inside and how the window is going to clear it. Alright, so you can see everything in there. The stopper, the spring comes up and catches a hole, pre-existing hole there in the door. And then that socket, got that spring goes down there and catches that piece caught on, welded on that socket. And the end of the socket catches that square piece. And then there's a bearing up in there, bronze bearing up on the face that'll run the metal. And see how the rod, everything clears that door or that window track. So the window will be able to pass by it. And we got some cool looking door handles that, I don't know, maybe somebody's put one on a Dakota. Maybe everybody put one on when they see this video. Alright, if you like this, subscribe or whatever, and tell your friends. Yeah. Alright, I'm pretty happy with it. Seems like it's gonna work. So, door shuts. Got nice little old school looking handles. Alright, check back. Bye.